Sher-ra and the Princess of Power is a Netflix reboot of the 1980s show of the same name. In the 1980s version, Adora is born on planet Eternia to Queen Marlena and King Randor. Princess Adora is kidnapped at birth by Hordak and taken to Etheria. There, she serves as a mind-controlled Horde force captain before He-Man comes and rescues her. After reuniting with her parents on Eternia, She-Ra decides to return to Etheria and lead the Great Rebellion. In the Netflix reboot, much like in the 1980s version, Adora was kidnapped by the Horde, more specifically by Shadow Weaver, who trains her to be another Horde soldier, but also has a mother-daughter relationship with Adora, much like it was implied in the old version. For the most part, that's where the similarities begin and end. In this version of the story, Catra isn't just some one-off side villain. Catra is Adora's best friend who grows up with her in the Horde under the abusive rule of Shadow Weaver. Catra also has a mother-daughter relationship with Shadow Weaver. However, unlike Adora's relationship with Shadow Weaver, which is lovingly manipulative, Catra's relationship to Shadow Weaver is more filled with hate and disappointment. After some magical mumbo-jumbo happens when Adora finds a sword of protection and it starts calling to her, she leaves the Horde to join the rebellion, leaving the evil ways of the Horde, but also leaving behind Catra. Now, before I get into my little review type thing, I'd like to just a bit of tea, as I can already hear the angry typing of people crying and whining about the quote-unquote SJW agenda. No, it wasn't. That's the tea. That's the entire pot and then some. Now, I didn't watch the entirety of the old She-Ra. Please forgive me, I'm not watching like 60 plus episodes of that. I'm just not doing it. I only watched the first 5 episodes, seeing as those were the most important episodes, where everything was introduced with the whole He-Man/Adam thing finding Adora and making her She-Ra and, all that stuff. And let me tell you this, most 80s cartoons, garbage, absolute garbage. Now, calm down, Phyllis, I can hear the booze, I can hear the grabbing of pitchforks and the lighting of torches, but hear me out. I'm not saying you're not allowed to like it more than this new She-Ra. Hell, you could not care about this new She-Ra all you want, boycott it, not watch it at all. But the criticisms I often see towards the new She-Ra are so filled with hate and ignorance. It's so frustrating. When I was younger, a wee child, I was in love with My Little Pony. I loved My Little Pony so much. And even though I was born in the year 2000, we still had that VHS shit. I used to watch the old 80s version of My Little Pony. That was my shit. I loved it so much. I've seen the newer versions of My Little Pony. I enjoyed it for a bit, but I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the old one. Do you want to know why? Because the old MLP holds a sentimental value in my heart. It's my nostalgia speaking to me. My nostalgia which prefers the old MLP to the new one. I can't say that the old version of MLP was better than this version of MLP, the one that we have in this generation, because that's just wrong. It's wrong, and I shouldn't say it. The new MLP was made for a newer generation. It has more distinct characters, and characters which, to be honest, have a lot more personality than the old one could ever dream of. Today's reboots of the old shows from the 80s are going to be a whole lot more different. Media, and specifically animation aimed towards a younger audience, has changed so drastically in the past decade or two. In the 80s, almost everything looked the same because of toys. The more toys you could sell for cheaper, aka reusing the same body model over and over again, the better. There wasn't that much focus on character-driven stories, or stories that focused on a linear plot. Most of it was just episodic fun with lots of designs, sell them toys, get that cash money. I mean, look at something like Transformers, from what it was to what it is now. Reboots are made different to fit the issues, ideals, and standards of the time they're being rebooted in. For more on that whole topic, I suggest you watch a video by Lindsay Ellis on The Hunchback of Notre Dame. She goes more in depth of the progression of the work itself and how it changed from Victor Hugo's original theme and point. In other words, stop living in nostalgia. Get with the times. No one is forcing you to be in love with this new She-Ra. No one's forcing you to even watch the show. All we're asking is for you to be fair about your criticisms of the show and for you to stop being such a piss baby about it. So, She-Ra has taken over my life. I've made a playlist for Catradora, started a new AMV edit for Catradora. I've doodles of a page of crying Catras. Actually painted a piece for the first time in a long time. I'm making a Hogwarts AU for sher-ra. Oh, and I'm drawing a 1-page comic about Catra being angsty about Adora, so go off, I guess. In other words, sher-ra has revived me, fed my farm animals, watered my crops, made me breakfast in bed, cleaned my house, and told me I wasn't a waste of space. It drop-kicked my art block into the next galaxy. Thank you, sher-ra, you wonderful, magnificent being. Honestly, I really enjoyed the show. I know a lot of people are complaining about the designs of the characters, but I honestly like them. I like them because you can actually see lots of difference between all of them. They're all recognizable and a lot more fun from a design aspect. Their shapes and colors are just all delicious.
Oh God, it's so good. So good. So good and tasty.
Not to mention, a lot of fun to draw, so that's an A+ for me. There are a lot of really good things about the show. The strongest part, I'd say, is the characters and the backgrounds. Have you seen this shit? It's beautiful, delicious, scrum-diddly-umptious. The characters have strong motivations, amazing chemistry, and the show itself explores a lot of interesting topics, mostly with family, abandonment, and abuse. This is especially explored with the relationship of Catra, Adora, and Shadow Weaver as a toxic, abusive parental figure and escaping said abusive situations, and how different people and victims of abuse react to these situations, who they blame and how they deal with it, so on and so forth. I might go more in depth about this some other time, seeing as I'm in love with the whole subplot and Catra-Adora's relationship, but, for another time. Like I said, the show is just really good at character chemistry, and it's also really good at incorporating story and plot without it feeling like it's just needless exposition. I do, however, have a few little tinsy-wincy gripes. From all the things to choose to throw out and keep, did you have to keep the pacing of an 80s show? Oh, okay, joking, but also, not entirely joking. Adora's switch from the rebellion felt, a little quick, just a bit. I know, like in the original, it's kind of the same, but I don't know. Somehow here it feels it's a little more fast paced from her switch from the Horde to the Rebellion. Upon originally watching it, I had no problem with it because the character's chemistry sold me on it. But don't you think for a second you can slip that past me, sher-ra. I've got my keen eye on you. Oh, yes, I do. I will watch you like a hawk watches its prey. Like a, oh my god, look at the kitty. I also feel as though a lot of the pacing or plot progression or like the answers that are thrown at the characters, especially in the first few episodes, is just so quickly accepted. It's not too jarring to where you're distracted and can't focus on the show, especially with the dynamics of the characters already distracting you. But, it's still there, and it's not exactly a problem you want to have. I do feel, however, they did get their footing around the last few episodes. I'd say after the Princess Prom episode, it was pretty much, perfect, good, mwah. Also Entrapta's episode was also nice. But then they did it. They backtracked in the last episode of this season during the last part, in the battle against the Horde when they were trying to destroy the gem thingy, when they saved everyone with the power of Rainbow, that corny ass shit. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little corny. I'm just saying. But I felt as though the princesses were too eager to help them all of a sudden, especially Frosta, who was so reluctant and did not have any motivation or reason to come to aid them. I'd understand Mermista, Flower Power over here, but I felt as though them getting together was a bit rushed and it felt weird. It didn't feel like Glimmer or the rest of the Best Friend squad earned the princesses' trust, especially with the loss that they felt with Entrapta's death. I sure hope this isn't what brings them together. I hope that we can go a little more in depth of getting to know and convincing the other princesses that this is a cause worth fighting for. Because a rebellion built on such a thin relationship and convictions is bound to fall apart, like it did when Entrapta died. Besides that specific part, nothing else really elicits a strong reaction out of me, or like anger, I suppose. I do have a few gripes with the other princesses, I guess. They feel a little underdeveloped, I'd say. The characters, which we do get to see a lot and that are developed very well. But the princesses, they're a little bland for now. And I hope that we can get to, get to know him a little more next time. Cause I'm not in love yet. Gotta admit, designs, tasty. Personality.
All sparkle, no substance.
Well, the style, in my opinion, is nice. I love the color choices. I think it's very pretty. However, the way the actual show is animated bugs me a little. At times, it feels very lackluster, very stiff. I'm not a fan of the transformation. I'm digging the movements, just the way her clothes appear onto her is just really boring. Okay, not to be a weeb on main, but I guess it's my fault for expecting it. But I was, expecting a little bit of that magical girl type of oomph to it. At times, the animation seems to be so nice and amazing, like during the dance scene in the Princess Prom episode, and Katrin Adora's fight there. Also, Entrapta, the way Entrapta's movements and everything, the way she's animated, wonderful. The fight scenes are nice, but, they're also nothing too exciting. They're okay. What makes them interesting are the characters involved. But for the most part, the choreography of the actual fights themselves, well, they're okay. They're nice. They're fine. Also, I noticed this more in the earlier episodes than in the later episodes. There were a lot of background details or scenes that just looked a little unfinished. There are a lot of times where the lines were just not there. A few coloring mistakes. Don't even get me started on the hair. Please. Okay. The other little mistakes I can forgive. Especially since they got better by the end of the season, like most of my gripes. However, the one thing I cannot stand is the hair animation. Specifically for She-Ra and Shadow Weaver, who have the big boy, floofy, flowy hair. The animation does not feel at all like flowy or silky or nice. It just feels kind of stiff and and I'm so the hair animation, please get better by season 2. I swear to God, it's the only real flaw of the show that I cannot stand, that cannot be redeemed by any other quality that it offers. The hair for She-Ra especially is just, it's a big part of her design, the whole appeal. She's got this big flowing golden hair. It's poofy, it flows, it glows, but it's oomph. You can't give me all this nice big hair without the oomph. She-Ra crew, what are we calling you now? Crew-Ra? Is that what Crew-Ra? Get your animation in check. Okay, ramble time. I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, ew, this SJW bullshit, I can't believe the agenda trying to push. But here's the tea. There is a lot of diversity in the show. I'm not denying that, and I'm not saying that's bad either. Though, I feel like it was never really pushed or trying to force an agenda. It was just there, people trying to live their lives. I wouldn't say it was the most explicit representation ever, but I also wouldn't say it was pushed back or ignored. I think that it was treated like any other story. It was just characters interacting with each other with romantic coding and atmosphere, and that's just that. Being LGBTQ+ in the show wasn't glorified. It wasn't demonized. It wasn't anything but just there. A lot of people who criticize the show say, oh, being gay isn't a character trait. And I agree. But when people say that, they often mean, don't bring it up. Don't do anything gay. Nothing can be gay unless it reaches these unrealistic standards and expectations that heterosexual couples or pairings and shows don't have to follow. The show never tries to push it onto anyone. If you think two people being in a romantic situation where both of them are the same gender is pushing the gays in your face, well then I'm sorry to inform you that the heterosexuals do the same thing by your standards. You might not want to believe me or even consider my side because I might be quote-unquote biased because of the type of person that I am, or the fact that it represents me and my friends and I enjoy that, and it's the type of representation I love and enjoy, where it's just a story where there are people who are like my friends and I. But that's just my opinion, I guess, on this. And honestly, if you have an issue with people just existing, then you know what, sweetie, no one can help you. Overall, I really enjoyed She-Ra, from its colorful backgrounds to its even more colorful character designs. I see a lot of potential in the show, and a lot of great stories to come from it. So, tell me, have you watched the show? Are you planning on watching it? If you have, what are your thoughts? Favorite characters? Favorite ships? Are you obsessed with Ketradora? Because me too! Tell me about it in the comments. Let's cry over Catra about it. Yeah! Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. everyone, and this is, I know I just said bye, but hi again, and sorry I've been gone. I fell into a little bit of, a depressive episode and just kept spiraling down, and I couldn't draw, and I was just hating myself every living moment. You know how it'd be, typical Tuesday night. Also, sorry for my nasally sort of sounding voice throughout all of this. I am sick. I am dying. And, it happens to the best of us. It just happens sometimes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was more sort of a compact video than most of my other videos, more organized, I suppose. It was a proper review of something, and I really enjoyed making it. So if you want more type of videos like this, I wouldn't mind. I've forgotten that I really love character analysis and, putting sort of pieces together and shit like that, and I've never really known what to do with that, especially in this channel, because I feel like a lot of the things that I like, a lot of you guys, or the majority of you guys don't really like. For example, I like a lot of Homestuck things, and I like to do analysis on god tiers and stuff, but I feel like that's also very specific from person to person, so I don't know, kind of weird, kind of whatever. But, if you guys have any suggestions or whatever, I'm all ears. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to upload more, and, yeah. For now, I'm just gonna focus on getting better. So, yeah, thank you, and goodbye.